Okay, we're doing this book here, Prevent and Reverse Obesity. We're on page 90, number 13, The Brain Damage Theory of Obesity. This comes from Tetsumori Yamashima, a Japanese doctor, MD, PhD, studying omega-6 cooking oils. And he did all kinds of crazy things, feeding them to, the monkeys, injecting them into the monkeys, all these different things. And he found that it caused brain damage. It damaged the arcuate nucleus in the hypothalamus, the hunger center. And he felt that the longer a person was fat, the more difficult it was going to be for them if they'd eaten a lot of fried food to ever be able to have the willpower to change their hunger drive and lose the weight, so to speak. So that's the brain damage theory of obesity due to damage of the hypothalamus from eating fried foods, because it's the whole lipid peroxidation of the PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, leading to toxic aldehydes like hydroxynonenal, leading to hydroxynonenal, HNE, damaging the heat shock protein, distorting its shape. So then calpain, the cytoplasm protease, activated by calcium and has painful consequences, will then attack the heat shock protein and destroy it. The heat shock proteins then can no longer do their job of chaperoning dysfunctional proteins to the lysosome for recycling, also stabilizing the lysosomal membrane. And then because they can't stabilize the lysosomal membrane, its enzymes will escape, its protease enzymes, in particular cathepsin. So this is a calpain-cathepsin theory of neuronal degeneration. And that's the Tetsumori Yamashima theory. Well, I've given longer lectures on this, but I'm just going through all the theories. So what I'm trying to say is there's this multifactorial attack on the person's health that all contribute to producing obesity. So the bottom line is you don't ever want to eat fried food. Ever. Never. It's never okay to eat fried food. And you don't ever want to be putting oils on your food. All the oils are bad. Okay, here's theory number 14 of why people get fat. Just eating the wrong diet. Okay, and what this means is low fat, low sodium vegan is the best, but why do some of these other diets make people fat? Number one, they're usually higher caloric density. Number two, they're higher in fat. Number three, they're higher in animal protein. Number four, they're hyper palatable with all this MSG and salt on them and being fried and stuff. So people eat way more of them than they should, excessive sugar. Okay, the rice diet of Walter Kempner. Here's a comparison of diets. Rice diet of Walter Kempner was super low in fat and sodium. Patients lost tons of weight on it. And all they gave them as a supplement was a multivitamin, because it was a very limited diet. It was just white rice, fruits, and fruit juice, okay? And maybe a little sugar if they needed that to maintain their weight. Kind of monotonous diet. The Spartan vegan diet of me, Peter Rogers, also called the medical monk diet. It's also, it's 100% vegan. It's 100% organic, so you avoid all the toxins sprayed on that stuff like glyphosate and atrazine. It's all whole food, so it's intact foods. Because when you eat the intact food, the cell is intact, meaning that it's got all its potassium and magnesium, the vasodilators. And magnesium's in the chlorophyll. And you get the plant nitrates and the antioxidants. Similar to the McDougall diet, I eat a little bit more fruits than he would recommend. He'd probably recommend only about 5% of calories from fruits. I eat about 35%, but maybe that's why my triglycerides were over 100. Less than 150 is normal. Mine bounce around from about 60 to 135. But I exercise a lot. I like the fruits for a variety. They taste good. And I do exercise a lot. If I didn't exercise as much, I'd cut down on my fruits because it's easy to overeat fruit. They taste so good. 5% of calories from veggies. My total cholesterol bounces around from about 90 to 140. Let's see what else in here. Never processed foods. Never high-fat plant foods. No nuts, seeds, soy. No sweets. I did get in a little phase where I was drinking that sweet cherry juice, which was a bad habit, but it was sort of convenient, and I stopped doing that. I'll drink beet juice sometimes if I need to for performance improvement before lectures or before lifting weights. The Caldwell Esselstyn diet, again, another very low-fat vegan diet, no oils, no caffeine. I don't allow caffeine in the Spartan vegan diet either. The Dr. McDougall diet, very similar, is again very low-fat vegan. He recommends 90% of calories from starch, 5% from fruits, 5% from veggies. I think he described his diet as probably about 7 or 8% of calories from protein and something in that ballpark from fat. In that ballpark, it really depends on how much beans you eat. Beans are the high-protein plant food. They're about 25-30% of calories from protein. Dr. McDougall did not recommend people have much beans, something like a half cup every day or a half cup every other day. Very little amount of beans. Especially if you have cancer, you want to reduce your dietary protein intake. Animal studies show that low protein diets, patients live longer, and it's impossible to be too low in protein with any naturally chosen diet. So that's the McDougall diet. And then here, now we're in a different territory. Here is the high-fat vegan diet. I call this a high-fat phony diet. It's really sort of the vegan Mediterranean diet. It encourages nuts, seeds, flax, chia, olive oil. Often, not everybody does olive oil, but a lot of them do. Avocados, soy. In my opinion, there's too much corporate-funded research with these ideas. The next is the philosophic vegans, the animal rights vegans. They're not that healthy. They'll eat anything as long as it's not an animal, including really high-fat stuff. They have a lot of acne, a lot of obesity. The religious plant eaters like Seventh-day Adventists who just do it for religion rather than for health. They're not that different than the philosophic vegans. You know, again, animal rights doesn't impress me. In my experience, it usually means lefty, you know, which also means wants to genocide Christians, which I don't like. I know not all of them are like that. Some genuinely care about animals, but a lot of them do it for ulterior motives. Okay, lacto-vegetarians, that means like milk and vegetarian. I was a skim milk and vegan for a while, lacto-vegetarian for a long time, but I quit skim milk because of the cancer risk and prostate cancer risk and risk of BPH, benign prostatic hypertrophy. Lacto-ovo vegetarians, they include eggs, lacto-ovo, pesco vegetarians. The more animal products you include, the sicker the people get. That's been shown in Seventh-day Adventist studies. The SAD diet, standard American diet's a disaster. Lots of processed food, meat, oil, caffeine, highway to health hell. Then the low-carb, paleo, keto, carnivore, that's major chump city. So many chumps believe that. And then they got a lot of trolls on the internet that bug people. Here's a wanderer above the sea fog saying that now you know the difference. You can look at things objectively, and you can choose wisely for yourself. Okay, so that'll be it for this session today of how to prevent and reverse obesity. I hope you found it helpful.